everyone, and welcome again to the Doctor Show. I'm Dr. Zahra here, and we're here talking about medicine, about health issue, about medical health in general. Today we're going to talk about something most of us actually already been through it. Most of us will have it in the future. It's kind of inevitable to have it at least once in your life, which is food poisoning. What is actually food poisoning, or medical term, it's a foodborne disease that actually comes because of a bacteria or a virus in the food. What is food poisoning? It's basically if you eat a contaminated food with a virus, bacteria, or a parasite, and you're going to have digestive system symptoms like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, like all of these symptoms. So what is it exactly? It's basically a small bacteria or a virus comes from unwashed food, from raw meat, from poultry, from eggs and dairy products, all of that. It's more liable to have more bacteria in it if you actually do not have a proper food safety in your house. In the restaurant you're eating to, you might have this bacteria inside your stomach. After that, sometimes our white blood cells is sufficient enough to kill all the bacteria in our body, so eventually unfortunately you will have symptoms. What are the actual symptoms of the food poisoning and how to know you have it? You basically remember what did you eat and where did you eat it and try to avoid whatever you did wrong, not to have it next time. So what are the symptoms of food poisoning? Fever. You could start by having fever. Fever, one of the things you could have by high temperature. Fever is a sign that your body is actually trying to fight the infection and trying to fight the bacteria or the virus. What else? Nausea. You feel like nauseated all the time. You might actually vomit several times. Vomiting is one of the very significant symptoms, and having diarrhea. So you probably will lose water from your mouth and from your down there all the time when you're having food poisoning. It could actually last from 1 hour up to 28 days, according to the virus or the bacteria and the severity of your food poisoning. But usually, whatever we have, it could last for a couple of days, 3 days maximum, and will be perfectly fine. So if you have mild symptoms, it's all right. You can treat yourself at home. You can just call the doctor to make sure you're fine, and that will be it. But if it's actually more than those days, and if you have alarming symptoms and red signs, you should definitely immediately seek a doctor's help. What are the red flags? If you actually have a temperature more than 38.5, that is actually very not okay to have, so you need to seek medical help and go to a doctor and go to the emergency department. If you're not passing urine at all, or you're passing very, very, very little urine, it means you're actually very dehydrated. So you need to go to a doctor. If you're hallucinating, having convulsions, if you're actually having anything that you feel it's not all right, you definitely need to go seek a doctor immediately. So that's actually one of the things you need to seek a doctor. But what to do if you're not having mild symptoms? You can treat yourself at home, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. So what are the types of food poisoning? We have 3 main types of food poisoning, and it could be any of them. And I said, what are the reasons? Very undercooked food, all right, and it could be poultry, uncooked poultry, it could be dairy products are very, very common, and raw eggs, and it could be any contaminated food like unwashed vegetables. Please do not just take it from the tree and eat it, or from the ground. Please make sure to wash it very well, to have your food safety at home, to have it in any reliable restaurant you eat in. Do not eat, if you eat from street food, make sure you look and see if they wash their things or if they cook it well. All these things you can actually easily avoid it. But all in all, when that study says 1 in 7 Americans every year have food poisonings in the USA. So it's actually, and a lot of studies said that statistics say that at least you get it once in your lifetime. Like everyone gets it, almost everyone gets it. So you could have it because no matter what you do, sometimes things do get out of hand, and the bacteria are everywhere. They're actually in your hand right now, on your hand. They're actually all around us, so sometimes they can come on our food even after we wash it. So it's all right to have it, but we need to do our precautions anyway, not to have it for a long time. So what are the types of food poisoning? So we have 3 main types of food poisoning. And what are they? Number 1, bacterial food poisoning. We have certain bacteria that go to our stomachs and make us have food poisoning, like E. coli, like Listeria, and Salmonella are the most famous 3. And every single year they infect millions of people because of their contamination. Number 2 is a virus. It could be norovirus, it could be rotavirus, and it could be any virus that goes to our stomach. And the worst one of all is hepatitis A. It's a food contamination disease that will have much more severe symptoms, and it could last for a month or two of food poisoning. It's actually quite serious, so you need to seek a doctor right away if you see your symptoms are a bit more than usual. And number 3, it's a parasite. We have a small parasite. Parasites come from a really not clean food, so they're actually a bit more rare to happen, but they do happen. So they, like toxoplasma, they actually go into our body and cause us all these symptoms. So what do we do? Before that, we need to talk about how to diagnose it. If you actually are still doubting, after all these symptoms, it's usually clinically diagnosed. So just from your symptoms, the doctor would know. But if you still want to make sure which type of bacteria or a virus or a parasite, you can do stool test, you can do a urine test, you can do blood test. All of that the doctor will actually require you to do it, but usually we don't do them. It's self-limited, and it will go away with time, with a few days, and it's actually okay. So let's say, unfortunately, you might have it once in a lifetime. What to do when you have it? How to treat it? First and most important thing, you stay hydrated, because when you vomit and have diarrhea, you lose a lot of water. And we talked before about water and how important that is. Make sure please to check our previous episodes to know how important the water is. So if you get dehydrated, you might get dizzy, you might get confused and hallucinated. So all in all, you have to make sure to get enough water to compensate for all the water that you're losing. So please, please, please make sure to stay hydrated when you have food poisoning. Hydration is the key to getting better. Get the most rest that you get. Sleep and sleep and sleep all day long. Get all the rest you need, because your body needs the rest, because your body is trying so hard to fight the infection and fight the bacteria. And your white blood cells, just like the police of your body, they're always trying to fight the bacteria and always trying to make your body feel better. If you have other symptoms like fever, you can make compressants, and compressants are not completely cold. They can be running water cold. You put it on your neck, on your inner thigh and tummy and underarm, not just the forehead, please, because it's actually a misconception people think. So make sure to treat your fever if you have it. You can take over-the-counter paracetamol to make it lower. You can actually take over-the-counter drugs for your diarrhea and vomiting, but please make sure you call your doctor first, because it's not, sometimes it's very mild to even go to the hospital. So just rest, drink your energy drinks, you can drink diluted juices, you can drink a lot of nutritious things, because you will be losing nutrition while you're vomiting and having diarrhea. So we need to compensate it, anything that has electrolytes in it, because you would need that. What are things you can avoid? You can avoid fatty food, like a lot of deep fried stuff and fatty food. Dairy products, avoid it while you're having food poisoning. Avoid caffeine. Caffeine will irritate the stomach when you have food poisoning. So make sure to avoid all of this and eat very washed food, boiled vegetables, soups, and you eat anything that will make you feel okay. Definitely soups are very important because of a lot of water and rehydration. So all in all, don't worry. Food poisoning is actually not so serious unless it takes few days longer than it should, or you have one of the red signs I previously mentioned, then you need to seek a doctor. Other than that, just make sure to clean your food. As simple as that. Just make sure to eat in a restaurant that is reliable and has good reviews, and make sure if you get one food poisoning from one place, you make sure you tell them, you make sure to report it so they wouldn't do it for anyone else, and make sure to track your symptoms. When you have any disease, make sure what you ate, make sure get the cause and the reason, and never do it again. And make sure you always keep your food clean, and you always stay hydrated. Please always stay hydrated. And that's basically it. Food poisoning is very easy to handle. Hopefully none of us will get it any serious or anytime soon. That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Dr. Zahra here, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good day.